friends, this is Mona with Rock City Tumblers, and today I'm going to make a gilded adhesive tray. So I start with my supplies. I need the gilding adhesive from Martha Stewart. I first use a foam brush with this experiment. I have a stencil that I purchased off of Amazon. I more than likely searched for Damask stencil, and here is the packaging that it came in. This is about a 12-inch stencil. You're also going to need a timer or some sort of watch because you need to let it set for the gilding adhesive set for 30 minutes. You're going to need some sort of tray. I got a tray mold from a buy-in, and I used FX Premium Epoxy, and I made this marble-looking black tray. So first things first, I need to measure the stencil, and obviously it's too tall for this tray, so I'm going to kind of stagger it with this experiment. So I want the stencil to stay in place, so the next supply you need will be some Scotch tape. So I'm just going to tape it down so that it doesn't move around as I'm dabbing the gilding adhesive on to the tray. So do not sand this tray. It had been poured for 24 hours, so it was quite smooth when I did this. And again, this is an experiment. I've had these gilding flakes, which is your next supply. I got these at Michael's or Hobby Lobby, I'm not positive, and I put them in that jar there. You're also going to need some tweezers. They help when you're grabbing the flakes out of the jar later. And I put the gilding adhesive in this plastic cup so that I didn't have to keep trying to pour the adhesive onto the tray. It really helped. Okay, so now I'm going to very, very lightly dab, 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 dab. And I sped up the video so that you don't have to see me dabbing. It did take quite some time. And I was trying to be very careful not having too much gilding adhesive on the foam brush, and I thought I was doing a good job, but you will see in a little bit that it did leak underneath the stencil, and now I do not recommend using a foam brush for this. So sped this up quite a bit so that this is about 900 speed. So it did take quite some time. I went ahead and pulled the stencil off immediately so it wouldn't stick to the tray because I did not know what to expect. Gilding adhesive typically takes at least 30 minutes to dry. You can wait up to 2 or 3 days, if not longer, before you do the next step, but minimum of 30 minutes. I could see on the tray where the gilding adhesive was, but I really couldn't see the pattern. I wasn't really looking yet. So I set my timer for 30 minutes, and I went and did some other things, and I'll come back in 30 minutes, and I'll make sure not to touch it before the 30 minutes is up. Don't touch it. So 30 minutes passes, and I come back and I check my gilding adhesive, and it looks pretty tacky, and it's ready for me to try to put the flakes on. So you can kind of see there where it's kind of bubbly looking. So, I mean, it looked like it was doing what I wanted it to do. So I'm kind of pointing out where you can kind of see where it's not shiny. So I'm thinking, okay, this is working. So let's go and put our flakes on. So these aren't the best quality flakes. They're kind of bunched up a little bit. I mean, I got them for like $3 or $4 at Michael's, so can't complain. Now they do have sheets that are one solid sheet that you might be able to get and lay the whole sheet on top of that and be done with this lickety split. However, the flakes did take a while. I first tried putting the just a cut off piece of a glove on my finger, but it didn't want to stay on. If I'd had a full glove, it wouldn't have been a problem. So at this point, the experiment is kind of working. It's sticking where I want it to stick, but it's not just right. I'm still wondering about it. So I go ahead and finish it out. I got just a regular paintbrush, trying to kind of push that around because it's kind of clumpy, and the top layers can be knocked off and used on other parts of the adhesive, so that's why I tried to get a brush. I think a better quality flake may have done a little bit better, not positive. And at this point, I kind of don't really remember how far out the stencil went, so I'm kind of sometimes surprised that, oh, it's all the way over there. So this is taking forever, and I think I speed this up here in a second. So, and flakes are everywhere, so if you can do this outside, I highly recommend it. Don't do this near any epoxy tumblers that are turning or any molds that are curing, because these flakes get everywhere. But you can kind of see the pattern starting to come to shape. And this is when I'm really realizing how much the gilding adhesive leaked underneath the stencil. And I'm discovering that the foam brush was not the most ideal way to apply the gilding adhesive. But it's not a total failure. I can see the stencil. It's just not as clear as I wanted it to. See, I'm trying to make sure, like, am I catching all of the bits and pieces, the outside. So, I mean, my vision is sort of working, but you can see at the top that it really leaked up underneath it. And I'm thinking that, you know, since it's not full adhesive, like, I can just scratch it off with my finger, kind of scratch it off with a tool, and so then I try some 91% rubbing alcohol, and that kind of helped with the Q-tip, but I'm really kind of just smearing it around. So then I try acetone, just regular nail polish remover acetone from Dollar General, and that helped quite a bit. I mean, it's kind of like this abstract damask at this point. Scratch, scratch, scratch. So this is why this is an experiment. So eventually I kind of give up on this side. Try for a little bit more. And this is all sped up. This is probably like 900 speed. So I did play with this for quite some time. And it is kind of going through lots of Q-tips. So I get the stencil back out and I try to figure out which side I had up, because apparently I wasn't paying attention. I tape it back down, and this time, this is sped up. It's I think probably 900 speed. So this time I'm dabbing the gilding adhesive on with just a tiny, tiny paintbrush, like a talcum brush. And also, I think that the adhesive had kind of thickened up in that cup a little bit, being exposed to air for probably over an hour now. So I don't know if that's the exact reason. This side went so much better. It did not leak up underneath it as much. I did wait. Try to touch up a little few spaces. But I could tell this time, I knew what I was looking for, and I could tell if it had leaked anywhere, and I tried to clean that up before I put the adhesive, the Silverleaf on. So I'm just looking at the shine and seeing where the glue is. And then I try to speed it up just a little bit using the heat gun. I don't know if that helped or hurt. So this part is sped up as well. So this is me putting the gold leaf on, and you can tell immediately how much better this side is. This side is working so much better. So the little smaller talcum paintbrush was definitely a difference, and it could be also letting that gilding adhesive thicken up just a smidge by sitting in the cup. So this is exactly what I was wanting it to look like. There were just a few places where the adhesive had leaked over just a smidge, but I am so much happier. So that's just a chip brush I'm using to kind of knock off any extra flakes. So now this left side of the tray looks so much better. So I'm holding up the little brush that I used. I'm giving you a thumbs up because that is the side that we love, and the little paintbrush was the best in this experiment. So I did go and sand this right side off and redo it. Here in a second you'll see it. So definitely it made a huge difference, the paintbrush that you used. Still wasn't perfect, but I feel like it really captured what I was trying to go for. So I just have basic silver handles. I need to find some fancy handles for this. So I get the handles out at this point and kind of place them just to get an idea. Those are my handles. I purchased those, I believe, at Amazon. It could have been Home Depot. So that's the idea, but I will put another layer of epoxy on this. And I'll try to put a finished picture at the end of this. So the gilding adhesive with the smaller brush was definitely the winning combination. So this is after I'd sanded the right side. I don't know if you can kind of see that's a little bit dull. I did the stencil again, and I used the smaller brush. So if you mess up on this, you can lightly sand the top layer and get it off. So it's the same cup. I did not put more gilding adhesive in the cup. So it's still been sitting out in the air. At this point, probably about 2 hours in that cup. So it is nice and thick. So you can see I'm seeing if it needs any more little spots, because I can definitely tell now that it's been sanded where the adhesive is. You can see it from this high up angle. And again, this is sped up. A lot of this video was sped up quite a bit to save time. This was an all evening project. You can see how well it's working. I'm very happy at this point. It was worth going in there and sanding it and redoing it. So I let this all completely dry for probably like 2 days, but it really didn't need that long, probably at least 24 hours, and cleaned it up really well, got the excess silver flakes off, went outside and dusted myself off after this was over, and so then I put the tray back in the mold and poured probably several ounces, it'd been like 12 ounces back on top of it. This is before I did that, and I put a little bit of a Twinkle additive. I think it was Cullen from FeatherBear Bling in the top layer, and I'll show you pictures of that. Thanks for watching.